Hey folks, Phil Gallagher aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video, and I know I'm going to talk about Splinter Twin, but first I want to talk about this card for a second. I want to talk about kind of the fundamental deck that Splinter Twin is. Splinter Twin has always been this tempo deck with a combo finish, and you always had this option to just beat your opponent to death with little flying creatures and play a sort of soft control role before going to a combo finish. And Chronojack donated to have me play a Splinter Twin deck list. Well, there's this beautiful little boy here that I think is going to fit really well into a twin shell, and I'm excited to try this out. Now, today's video is sponsored by cardsphere.com, and we'll take a look at them in a few minutes. But let's talk about making infinite creatures. Splinter Twin, back in the heyday of Modern, at least in my opinion, I didn't hate Birthing Pod. Splinter Twin was awesome because it was a combo finish in a very strong deck that had a lot of flexibilities, and sometimes you could just put a Splinter Twin on a Wall of Omens or something like that, and that was good enough to get there. In Legacy, Splinter Twin is a little bit slow as a combo piece at 4 mana, and you can often disrupt it for a single mana with something like a Swords to Plowshares. In case you've never seen the combo before, we're looking to play a card like Deceiver Exarch or Pestermite, and then put a Splinter Twin on it. We make a token copy of the creature, which untaps the original, and we're going to end up with infinite creatures, hence infinite combat damage, and a dead opponent. We have a tempo shell supporting this with some nice sort of efficient removal spells, some cheap or sometimes even free interaction. And Chronojack's build actually had 3 copies of Back to Basics to start with, which is, quite frankly, just rude. Now, Chronojack's build had Snapcaster Mage, but I think Faerie Mastermind is just better. This is a hate card for blue decks. It plays into this tempo strategy really well. I think this card is going to be absolute gas here. Now, a couple other times on this channel, I have played Splinter Twin. There's older versions of me playing this out there, but a lot of times it was in a shell with Ancient Tomb, because, you know, Ancient Tomb's real good when you have a bunch of colorless in your cost. But this time around, we're going to try to play some good, honest, fair blue Magic. Okay, like, mostly fair, because I did throw a couple copies of Murktide Regent into the deck list, because, you know, if you're going to be playing with 16 one-drop instant and sorceries, it just kind of makes sense. It goes in with that tempo plan pretty well. The sideboard is largely unexciting. I moved Chronojack's 3rd copy of Back to Basics over there. I mostly kept their sideboard intact. I made some very, very small changes. I wanted another Force of Negation and another Flusterstorm in there. That came at the cost of, I think, an Engineered Explosives and a Hydroblast. So when I lose to a Resolved Minsk and Boo, you know who to blame. It's me. With that being said here, I think we're going to go ahead and hop into the games here and just get to this sweet, sweet Legacy action. If you're new here and you like what you see, please consider subscribing. If you're a regular, throw me a like before this video begins. That is the single best way to support my content for free. Let's battle. So I have a Brainstorm to fix this hand. I can play a turn 2 Brainstorm and fetch away a Force of Will and a Lightning Bolt and keep this hand, or I could just mulligan this hand. I think this hand is kind of weak. Like, the Brainstorm doesn't have a lot of value if I'm already locked into what cards I'm getting rid of guaranteed. And if Lightning Bolt isn't good in this matchup, this hand is awful. I think I'm just going to mulligan this one. I think a hand with something like a Faerie Mastermind or a better starting cantrip is just going to be stronger here. I will happily keep this one, probably throwing back my Mountain given the pips that I have in my hand. Yes, Prismatic Vista is technically the worst of these lands here. Get that out of the way now. Cast a Preordain. Basically looking for more cantrips. Yeah. Island can go on the bottom. We will top the Ponder and call it a turn. My hand's not exactly good against anything as of right now. The Splinter Twin away from going infinite, or a couple instants and sorceries away from just producing an early Murktide Regent that threatens to take over the game. Let me tell you, playing a Murktide Regent and then tapping down your opponent's blockers is kind of sick. We Doomsdayin'? I am getting thought seized. I imagine I'm losing Murktide Regent? Question mark? I'm losing Ponder. 3 cards in graveyard, 4 cards in graveyard with a fetch land, so I can't Murktide Regent this turn. I can always Murktide Regent next turn, if there is a next turn. It's Doomsday. Yep. Okay, looks like we are playing against a Tempo Doomsday deck list that has, like, Murktide Regents in it, as well as Unearth for some spicy piles where you bring the Thassa's Oracle out of the graveyard. What's this? Oh, that's a swamp. That is not a draw that I am looking for. Again, 3, 4 if I fetch, 5, 6, 1 short of Murktide Regent. I imagine I die this turn uncounterably to Cavernous Souls. Oh. Rix is fine. My opponent knows that I have this Deceiver Exarch. Hello. So, I think I Deceiver Exarch and tap down one of their lands and go towards drawing a Splinter Twin, rather than playing Murktide Regent hoping that I don't have to Force of Will, and still needing 2 hits to kill my opponent. Yeah. Let's fetch. I think I will grab basics. We'll go to my opponent's upkeep. Go for the Exarch. Tap that Underground Sea. And top deck Splinter Twin like a boss. Your ponder happens. Splinter Twin, Splinter Twin, Splinter Twin! What it means to be alive. Hell Pierce. So this game fully comes down to whether or not my opponent has Cavernous Souls. Probably beat most other stuff. Let's find out. They do. That Thassa's Oracle, unfortunately, will kill me, as my opponent has no cards left in library. I have to sideboard against this pile. So I was hoping for a Splinter Twin off the top there. Am I supposed to keep this in the deck, though? Not really sure that I am. Like, my opponent has Dazes in their deck. I think I just want to get more interactive. I can go Twins out. I can consider cutting some number of Deceiver Exarchs. They're still a little annoying. I definitely want Force of Negation. Because my opponent's on the tempo version, I probably need these counter spells. How do I feel about Back to Basics? It's slow. Not a card my opponent's going to be expecting. Cavernous Souls is so brutal. Want another Brazen Borrower just as a 3-1 flyer that clocks my opponent or bounces a Murktide. Play a Fluster. Surgical's medium. I don't know that I want more copies of Back to Basics than just this. But I might keep 2 more Deceiver Exarchs just as something to tap down an opponent's land or tap down their Murktide or whatever. I don't know, maybe I need the Twins. This is 12 creatures. And my opponent has Baleful Strix. Try without. This is a 1-lander, but we've got both Preordain and Brainstorm to help out with that. I think I will just start on the basic island still. I'm fine with immediate Preordain. We'll bottom things that aren't land, despite the fact that I exceptionally like Faerie Mastermind. Punished for grabbing island. I'm in trouble if I get Brainstorm locked here. There is that gap in power between Preordain and Ponder, just in terms of raw number of cards that you look at. Preordain looks at 3, Brainstorm looks at 3. I'll cast Preordain here. Bottom, never didn't have it. Full confidence, pass turn. I will probably go for an end of turn Brainstorm just to smooth out my next turn if my opponent doesn't do anything here. See what we're looking at. Great. I will redraw a Bolt, but I am not super excited about them as of right now. Make a land drop and pass, do an end of turn 3-1 flyer, and start playing that tempo game. Alright, new land drop from the opponent. We can be starting to look at Doomsday here. Fine with that resolving. That's no shuffle on that card. Just grab a new island and start a clock. It'll be a clock backed by like 2.5 counter spells. Daze occurs. I'm not willing to fight over that given the resources that I have. That's great. Take a land drop and pass the turn. See if my opponent's got anything fun. Yes. Faerie Mastermind. Oh, this is awfully rude. I think I'll respond. I will Flusterstorm a Fatal Push here. Same target. There's now 2 on that. Move 1 to Brainstorm. We'll move 2 to Brainstorm. I'll take out both of my opponent's spells. Although I guess I'm not drawing a card off the Brainstorm now. I think that's okay. Okay, great. So now we're playing this tempo game with a Faerie Mastermind in play. Like, opponent's life total is not gonna go down fast, but it's gonna go down. Yeah, I will draw a card off that, so I'm good with that. Yeah. Oh, this card's gross. Would like to Thought Seize me. Not the biggest fan of this. I could give up 2 Spell Pierces to protect Force of Will, but then I don't have the blue card to go with it, so I think I just let this resolve. Oh, it was Pyroblast, actually. I'll probably get pretty aggressive with Spell Piercing things now that my opponent knows about them. Mystic Sanctuary for Ponder. I'll Force of Will it. Alright, Force of Will, pitching a Spell Pierce. I wonder if it's a good idea for me to draw a card here. Like, we both draw a card. Just wondering if my card is more valuable than theirs in this spot. I'm not sure. I'll cast a Ponder. Hack to Basics is a fucking trip. Okay. Ordered this wrong, but I can't undo it. No shuffle. Attempt back to basics. Force of Negation, pitching Murktide Regent. Alright, so we're fields down at the moment, but I think that was worth going for. I guess I know if my opponent's going to ponder, it doesn't actually matter too much in which order I put the Mountain and the Lightning Bolt, because I will have both next turn. I'm not expecting like a Cabal Therapy that can take both the Lightning Bolts at the same time. Going Murktide again? So soon? Grix is fine. I'll just bolt that out of the way and continue to swing. Ponder's fine. Note that this is the 2nd card each turn, specifically. So, Mountain. Bolt that Strix. Get in for my 2 points of damage. Yeah. I absolutely dig the vibes of this deck. What is this gonna be? Oh, that's annoying. I'm going to bolt that, but I lose Faerie Mastermind in process, so I think I go ahead and do an activation here. So each player draws a card, but then my opponent draws their 2nd card, so I get to draw another one. Notably, these are both rogues. Bird? The fuck? What? Grix is fine. Bird. Okay. Am I even bolting Plague Engineer if they put it on Bird? Not a bird, not a bird. I think I'm bolting Strix and just continuing to beat my opponent in the air. Alternatively, I just fucking tap it down with Pestermite. Beat my opponent for 2. Have 4 power in play, then bolt it later, or Deceiver Exarch it later. Yeah, let's go. Sorcery Speed Pestermite. Tap Strix. Faerie Mastermind in for 2. Opponent goes to 7. Brainstorm's fine, that'll give me a card. Yes. Fatal Push my creature. That is occurring. Deceiver Exarch doesn't kill that in combat. I think I just take this 2 here. Like, I don't have to do that much more damage to my opponent before they just die. 2nd Strix is annoying. Now tapping down the 1st one isn't nearly as good. I think I'm still playing my Deceiver Exarch with that on the stack, though. Let's do this. Tap down a Strix. We'll probably bolt the other one. Ooh. This is a power play. Oh, it's the back to basics. Put back Volk and a Vista. Go ahead and fetch to clear this. Grab a Mountain. Before I do anything else, I'm going to resolve this back to basics. Oh, that's so brutal. Okay, yeah, and my opponent is done with me. Notably, we did not really see the Doomsday side of the deck there. My opponent was just playing fair. I don't think I like the Deceiver Exarchs. I think I want those out. I think I'm fine with one more back to basics, and I honestly might want to play like a Pyroclasm. If my opponent is going to be playing like Plague Engineers and Baleful Strix, this is just reasonable, and I'll cut one other random card for this. I can probably get rid of one of these blasts reasonably. I don't know, they kill Murktide Regent though. Do I want to get worse against Doomsday and remove a Spell Pierce? That seems okay. This is a pretty medium hand that I think I will keep. I'm a little scared of my opponent just, like, going for it on turn 1. Because I'm not great against my opponent just going turbo. Yep. I have to play the Volcanic Island on turn 1 as to not telegraph this too hard, despite the fact that I do have back to basics in my deck. I think I pretty aggressively go after a cantrip that's played on my opponent's turn. You got? Okay, we're just chilling. I'm fine with playing the make a land drop game right now. Probably play Mountain here. That way I have both of these up while also having Faerie Mastermind up. And I don't necessarily want double Volk right now because I have 3 copies of Back to Basics in my deck that I in theory want to be able to find. I think I go after this end of turn Brainstorm here. With double Pyroblast available, I think that's okay. I think I want to wait to play Faerie Mastermind around days, / not just play it immediately into my opponent's turn 3 Plague Engineer. I might just be wrong on that. That's kind of what I'm feeling. That is a Doomsday, leaving Misty Rainforest uncracked. Pyroblast doesn't impact that card. Alright, my opponent's at 9. I don't really know how to beat the Cavern of Souls that's coming. That is going to be tough. My opponent has untapped land plus presumably Cavern of Souls. So back to basics isn't going to kill them. I don't know quite. Am I not supposed to ponder? Am I just supposed to play end of turn Brazen Borrower and hope to get there with like lightning bolt based lines? That honestly may just be my best bet. Yeah, I think I just passed the turn here. And I fully just have to play one of my 2 threats in this turn cycle. Another fetch land. Not Cavern of Souls. Thoughtseize. Puts my opponent to 7. Maybe closer to 5. I think I do the Brazen Borrower. This does Edict to Daze in a way that Faerie Mastermind doesn't, but the extra point of power may very well be relevant here. It depends on whether my opponent is fetching once or twice, or whether there's a Street Wraith or anything like that involved. Brainstorm. Before anything else, I fully just need to attack and get this damage in. Alright, my opponent's at 4. Let's start here. Oh, fuck. Okay. 2 lands go back. I fetch. Grab an island. Pass to ponder. Do I accept Pyroblast? I think I accept Pyroblast around days. I guess I can look. 1, 2, 3, 4. Days is not available to my opponent. So I can just draw Brainstorm and leave Pyroblast on top. If my opponent casts a blue spell, I 100% just Brainstorm and blast them. Alright, cast Brainstorm. Go back Pyroclasm and a land. Attempt to counter target Thassa's Oracle. See if they just, like, unearth it. Oh shit, I won! Oh. Today's video is sponsored by Cardsphere.com. Do you like trading cards? Do you like finishing decks, but you don't necessarily want to put on real pants and go to the game store to do that? Well, Cardsphere allows you to trade peer-to-peer. You list the cards you want, and you can send them off to other people and do exchanges. And this site has other services and also articles as well, so please consider checking them out. Alright, round 2. I've kept my opening hand here. I am very much hoping that I get to Spell Pierce. Entomb at end of turn. Play Island and pass. I want to end up in a weird priority pass situation. Alright, it's happening. If I get game 1, I have 3 copies of Surgical that will help out a lot for future games. Okay. We're chilling. I don't think I can drop Spell Pierce right now to just do an end of turn Brainstorm and use my mana. I think I'm just going to make another land drop and pass. Sure. Oh. Not Reanimator. Food Chain Goblins? Question mark? Not with no plays for this long. I think I'm just going to play a Faerie Mastermind. Off a mountain. I don't really care if this just eats a removal spell here. Alright, I'm untapping with it. I have a Force of Will now. Not attacking into Endurance. My opponent's at 16. I think I've got enough instant speed stuff here where I just pass the turn. Despite the fact that playing Ponder is perfectly good. I don't super know what I'm looking for yet. Like, I don't know if I'm just going to eat a Minsk and Boo here or what. Oh shit. Oh shit. Damage has been done. I let that body go, I think. And pray that I can stop the incoming Vengevines. I'll Brazen Borrower that back to my opponent's hand. Although maybe I have another creature. They almost certainly do. I'm so screwed. Maybe accordingly, I force this so I can Brazen Borrower a Vengevine out of combat. I will buy that. Please don't have it. Damn it. I'm not even fucking mad. My opponent is probably having the time of their life over there. Alright. Pierce goes back. Faerie Mastermind goes back. I will fetch. Grab an island. My opponent gets 3 of those. So, am I ever alive? I bounce one of these. I take 8. I go to 6. My opponent recasts this. I tap down one of these. I'm still just dead. I think I concede here rather than show my opponent another card. Fuck. That was the dream for my opponent. Go Lizards, go. So, Force of Negation is reasonable for Faithless Looting specifically. Surgical Extraction is usually fine. Back to Basics is a thing that exists. Like, a lot of times my opponent will go under this. Not always. I guess I can also technically play Flusterstorm. So thing one I have to decide is, like, is this a twin game or is this not a twin game? So, like, do I need the emergency eject button of I win? I think the answer is yes. I think I need that. That probably means going down on some other creatures. This could be my 4 for 4, and I am trying to play a combo game with a little bit of disruption in the early game. I am okay with this. I kind of want the other Brazen Borrower, but I don't really see many cards that I want to cut. 1 mana and of Magic the Gathering cards. I play this and I 100% ponder looking for a second land. If I hit the second land, I still need a third land beyond that, and I still need something else beyond that. I think despite the fact that this is a reasonable mix of lands and spells, I should consider mulliganing this. I have considered, and I will keep it. I will lose the game as I see no lands off this ponder. Then my next 2 cards aren't lands either. But I accept. Okay. Do I accept the 1 land and then draw through these other 2 cards? Pretty bad cards. I think I'm going to shuffle. Like, the second land there doesn't get me to where I need to be with this hand. I now have the entire Splinter Twin combo. Okay. Sure. Alright, there's a Vengevine. Hopefully I'll surgically extract at some point. Looting. Rootwalla. Creature 1. That's creature 2. Goodness. Racked that. Yeah, 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 yeah. Nothing too exciting here. I think my opponent didn't sideboard at all. Second hollow one is about to hit play. That's rough. Oh, the hand off the ponder that was just another island would not have kept up with this. I wouldn't be able to bolt and take some pressure off the board. Back to basics plan is fully off the table. Okay, I think I'm just deterministically dead now. Get hit for 9, get hit for 9. Nothing. Yeah, I think I'm just deterministically dead here. I will concede to that. Opponent went under what I was doing, despite surgical. GG's. Alright, I have kept my hand here. We have a reasonable mix of lands and spells, some fair stuff, some unfair stuff. I'm definitely going to do a sorcery speed cantrip off a basic island here. I'll just preordain. I guess I technically want both of those, right? Alright, good stuff. With one more land, we have a turn 2 kill. Or, not a turn 2, a turn 4 kill. Kinda looks like my opponent is just playing, like, Super Fair Maverick over there. Which I would be down with. Going for a basic. Rib Ranger. Sure. Is notably pro-blue. Which, like, matters because I'm playing things like Faerie Mastermind. Take my damage here. Scavenging Ooze. Yep. Unlike Lion Sash, this only grows off creature cards. So we've got that going for us. Love to draw a basic land so I don't just get wastelanded here. I think I'm going to work towards that. If I start with Brainstorm, I'm more or less okay with the things that are in my hand, though. Yeah, these are basic lands. We'll no shuffle that. Go ahead and play this. I'm just going to preemptively fetch. Grab an island. My opponent could bounce a forest to untap this, so attacks with Faerie Mastermind in aren't safe. I'm going to go ahead and just pass the turn here. My Murktide Regent. Ooh. Yeah, that's fine. My Murktide Regent is probably Force of Will fodder here. I am fine eating this damage. I'm at 16. Second Wasteland. I am okay with an end of turn Brainstorm to just kind of smooth things out. Maybe find a Lightning Bolt. Nope, no, more Twin. Put back some Splinter Twins. And I need to not play a land drop here, oddly enough. Endurance. I don't want this pressure on me. I'm just going to go ahead and Force of Will. Pitching a Murktide Regent. I'm fully winning this game on the back of combo. Yep. 4 damage is fine. I'm at 11. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You may draw your card. Verdant's actually a little annoying. Because now I can't guaranteed take my opponent off of like a Swords to Plowshares. I'm gonna try to tap the Verdant and make them figure out what they... Oh shit. We win. I guess unless my opponent has Dismember. Winning! Yeah. Feels good to be back, baby. So I very much like the idea of Pyroclasm. Brazen Borrower is fine. Back to Basics is probably playable to good here. It seems to me like Faerie Mastermind is probably my weak link here. It's bad against Endurance. It's bad against Scrib Ranger. My opponent's not playing cards that draw cards for the most part. So this is probably just my substitution. And we try to do kind of something similar to last game, where we play a fair game for a few turns and turn the corner when we believe it's safe. I have a pretty mediocre looking hand here. Yep. I only have so many copies of Splinter Twin. Starting with one is nice if I am going to try to combo my opponent off. Ponder can find me a removal spell for what my opponent is doing. Brazen Borrower's not going to work anymore. Boo! I don't want 2 of these cards. Like, I want the Brainstorm to shuffle away these lands, but if I'm just going to draw 2 other cards that I don't really like, I think I just shuffle here and hope to do better on average. Wasteland is not that big of a deal. The Thalia is not that big of a deal. The Mom backing it up is a little annoying. Ooh. We might get some value off this Pyroclasm. Not this turn, but soon. A Lightning Bolt. Very hard for me to Pyroclasm and then Lightning Bolt in a meaningful way. I think I bottomed that. I think I keep the Ponder. I will take my 2 Thalia damage. Very familiar with this pain. Tireless Tracker. Oh yeah, this is a sick Pyroclasm. Oh! Sorry. I had a moment. Alright. You may save one. I legit don't know which one they're supposed to save. Like, I don't know what their hand is. They're going for the Thalia. That's fine. That will get cleaned up by the next Pyroclasm. Which is just a disgusting thing to say. My inkling, without knowing their hand, is that they should have kept Mom to prevent future removal spells from being on, but like I'm sitting here looking at 2 removal spells in my hand, right? Fuck. God, Brazen Borrower is so fucking good. It's unfair how good Brazen Borrower is. So next turn, I will choke this out of the way, or bounce choke, and then try to counter it on the way back down. Unless I hit some emergency situation where I just absolutely have to Spell Pierce. I don't really foresee that happening. Alright, I'm at 14. That's fine. Again, that gets caught up in a Pyroclasm at some point. Thalia is rough, though. Well, my back to basics is not quite having the ideal timing here. I'm not happy about this. Yep. Point of damage. Thalia plus choke was something I wasn't quite ready for with this hand. Ah, now my opponent knows about my creatures. Okay, they are not willing to endanger the Thalia in combat. That's fair. I'm at 10. Please stop playing things. Or play something that dies to a Pyroclasm. Ah, fuck. Fuck. I'm just not playing Magic if I don't bounce the choke. I can't Spell Pierce this. Oh, more choke. Fetch. Grab an island. Send that choke out of play. Doesn't kill everything over there. But this helps. I mistapped. I could have pondered as well in this turn cycle if I went red, 1. But I didn't. That may be costly. I was thinking about the Thalia attacks and only casting 1 spell anyway. That's not true because I was killing the Thalia. Alright, I'm at 6. Grist is just threatening to kill me. 5. So I Spell Pierce the choke. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just dead to it? Oh god. At least it dies to Pyroclasm. I don't think I'm on outs here. Deceiver Exarch's ability is off, so the combo ability is off. Okay, yeah. Guess I can cast this. I don't know what I'm looking for though. Not any of this. Alright. Next game. If I specifically want help with choke and grist, I can bring in a Force of Negation. We're going to be in this weird battle where my opponent has chokes and I have back to basics, and either one of them resolving is just an absolute gut punch for the other person. I'm going to go a Spell Pierce out for a Force of Negation in to hedge further against choke, although this is a choke answer as well. Maybe let's do that. Okay, so my plan with this hand is resolve back to basics. I am doing that plan with a Volcanic Island in hand. I think it's fine. I think I'm casting a Brainstorm in my first turn cycle, and both a Brainstorm and a Ponder in my second turn cycle, rather than just pondering now. Although, I don't know, with the Ponder I do know exactly what I'm looking for. I just want basic lands. Opponent's also going to 5 cards. Those spot removal spells and Pyroclasms are going to become much better. I think I'm going to go ahead and Ponder looking for lands. This is fine. I'm going to draw the Spell Pierce now. so that I can pitch that to Force of Will if I'd like. See what my opponent's got. Play around back to basics by fetching a forest. I think I'm going to force this, though. Like, the Spell Pierce is currently not great. I think I am perfectly good with still trying to go for a turn 3 back to basics. Put back, Volk, drop an island. Okay. I have enough to do with my mana in the next couple of turns that I'm just going to brainstorm here. Yes. Lands back. So we will go ahead and I slam? Not sure. I think I'm just going to upkeep Pestermite, tap down my opponent's forest. Just like do things that make them tap lands and then slam the back to basics afterwards. That feels stronger to me. Alright, let's try to get in there for some damage. Ooh. Opponent's at 17. We'll attempt this. Gets telegraphed, so my opponent can see it coming. I'm not the biggest fan of, because my opponent assuredly has basics in their deck. But it's fine. And I'm playing over. Fuck. I get punished for holding this up to Telegraph Bolt. My opponent's version of this worked out better. Now this gets wastelanded. Or no, it doesn't get wastelanded. Because of my back to basics. Alright. My opponent's Thalia resolves. Not great at answering enchantments. My opponent's choke might just win them the game despite the fact. Oh. That's going to be real good in another turn or two. Yeah, I got so punished for not tapping this land. Like, I wanted to plant information. Make my opponent think I had things that I didn't, but I got super fucking punished for it. I wasn't able to play a Murktide Regent. Oof. Okay. Here's this. I take 4. That brings me to 14. I'm still somewhat healthy. But Deceiver Exarch's no good for me. My opponent can start eating away at my instants and sorceries if they think they're relevant. Okay. Okay. At this point, I'm comfortable conceding. My opponent has me on a 2-turn clock, and they just cleared my graveyard. I very well might have lost this one for choosing to tap this land versus this land. GG's. All right, round 4. We've got a keeper. I'll probably play most of this game on basic lands. We have the combo in hand. I have a brainstorm to fish for interaction if I have to emergency pull the trigger on something. Sure. We landsing. Seems like we're landsing. Alright. Loam occurs. And I don't think I'm going to cast Brainstorm yet. I think I'm just gonna make some land drops here. Ooh, my opponent flipping Dark Depths is scary. Oh, that's a pain in my ass. Yeah. I will brainstorm in response to that. This is really gonna throw me off curve. Swing and a miss. I'll put back a Volk. Another land here. This exploration is gonna do me in. Oh, sick. That could have been worse. Alright, Saga occurs. I think I don't Bolt. I think I just go ahead and play this and pass. And at my opponent's end step, I tap down their Rashad Port to go for the win. That's a Loam. New Saga. And Ancient Tomb, Sphere of Resistance. That's actually quite bad for me. Because now I can't just play a Splinter Twin on this turn. And my opponent is going to get to double Rashad Port me plus Sphere. I think I'm dead. This is exceptionally bad. I also think I have to get one of these in this spot. Let's Pestermite. If I tap this down, my opponent just makes a thing in response. I'm going to go ahead and untap this mountain. Let that resolve. New Lightning Bolt. Okay. That's not bad. We're going to crunch in with some Pestermites. My opponent goes to 16. End of turn, they will make a token. This is a 3/3. Since it is currently a 3/3, I'll go ahead and just bolt that. Then we'll see how careful my opponent is with their triggers here. They need to stack their Urza Sagas in a certain way. They figured it out. Oh, they didn't figure it out. Okay. So this ability is still on the stack and hasn't resolved, so it doesn't have this ability yet. So since it doesn't have that ability yet, we will nuke the 3/3 token. Oh, my opponent stacked that correctly, but then didn't let the proper ability resolve. I may just have other problems here, though. Fuck. Alright, they figured it out. So you don't need Splinter Twin in this situation, because Splinter Twin gives the ability to the enchanted creature. So now I can't twin combo my opponent out. So I'm stuck in this world where I'm trying to deal 14 points of damage before they can kill me with giant constructs. And life's bad. They just burned 2 bolts trying to keep their artifacts in check. Back to basics will be real good in this matchup, although my opponent does have outs to it. Okay, why are we in my draw step? You should have done things in my upkeep if you were going to tap down lands. Go ahead and just play out a creature for tempo here. You can tap down my other thing, that's fine. Okay, cool. Okay, my opponent's just going to create their thing now. I get to bash in with a flyer. Lifelink that my opponent's construct is probably about to get is going to mess with me, though. Ooh, I only have 2 Basic Mountains in this deck. That may be relevant in this matchup. Really need to pay life? I guess if you just have not Retrofitter Foundry, Shadow Spirit doesn't matter. There's a lot of land drops on the other side of the battle. Well, no, it's just Mox Diamond. Oh, Stage and Depths over there in Graveyard with Life from the Loam as a known card. Yeah. I'm going to cast a Brainstorm here to see if there's anything that can get me out of this. Well, that's interesting. Put back a Splinter Twin and a Faerie. And I guess here it kind of depends on if my opponent decides to port me. I'll take the 6. I'm at 10. If they just decide to port me, I might be able to just back to basics them out of the game. They did not. My line has to be attack them with both of these creatures. Hope they don't make a Merit Lodge. Made a Merit Lodge. Yeah, but if I want to go for the kill, I have to do 4, 8, 9, 10, 11. And this does not get me there. And I needed like a die roll or one more turn, I think, to be able to get that down. Back to basics is great. Meltdown is very good. Force of Negation is reasonable. Nullrod's not crazy. Spellpierce seems pretty medium. It's okay when I'm on the play. Bolt also seems medium. I'd pierce the shit out of Mox Diamonds or Explorations, but like after turn 1, it's just very bad in the matchup, I think. What does this look like if I do this? This still has me bringing in 2 more cards. This is another out to a Merit Lodge. I play a Surgical or 2. Or like Urza Saga and stuff for when I need to grind. Probably won't miss a Preordain. Play 2 Surgicals. Why is it a Brainstorm and not a Ponder? With a Ponder, this is a slam dunk. With a Brainstorm, this is risky. I really need to get to 3 mana for this hand to work. I think I can find a safer 6. This is absolutely a safer 6. I don't think I'm ready to start trying to combo yet. This is not the highest upside hand in the world. This is a hand that's pretty good against specific lines that my opponent can take. Yeah, so I'll let that resolve, and I will melt it down. Stage. Okay. That's annoying. That is the land I did not want my opponent to have. Deceiver Exarch's back. I'll try to grind Mox Diamond value here. Let's grab a mountain. Petty Theft that Mox Diamond. Make my opponent replay it. They presumably need their colored mana. And then I'll melt down it. Okay, all according to plan. There's a Saga in the yard. I can Force of Will Life from the Loam, Surgical Life from the Loam, Meltdown Mox Diamond, and maybe leave my opponent without colored mana. Like using 3 cards to answer Life from the Loam, though. And just Surgical Urza Saga. No, then I still have this Urza Saga to worry about. Alright, try to color screw my opponent. Alright. Surgical Life from the Loam. Oh, got another one. Yeah. Pretty normal stuff here. Chokes again. We'll take a picture of that. We'll go ahead and melt down this Mox. My opponent has no colored mana as of right now. I don't really like my position, but in theory, I have 2 3 CMC flyers that I can use to just tempo my opponent out. It super sucks if they draw a land. Any land for this turn, because they can just get a new Mox Diamond. Okay, that works too. That's pretty good. Saga again. Land, please? Nope. I guess they need land as well at this stage. I think I'm putting back Exarch Brainstorm. Play Scalding Tarn Pass. They have the land. They actually need to fetch with this Windswept Heath before the end of my turn. Yeah, or they miss out on an Urza Saga construct token. They figured that out. Grab an island. That's a good draw. They get a construct. Get another one here. Plus something else. Shadow Spear. Oh, sorry, I missed this while I was talking. They used Thespian Stage targeting Urza Saga. Sure. My opponent could have drawn Red Elemental Blast as their unknown card. Tap that down. Alright. Let's see if they just didn't pull the trigger on Red Elemental Blast and I die because of it. Nope, we get there. That exact thing happening is a reason to tap down Taiga and just take 2 points of damage, but most of the time I don't get the God draw there. I'm just so bad at fighting over Urza Sagas because like my hate is back to basics rather than Blood Moon, and that difference is a huge deal here. When my opponent's on the play, a lot of my cards just get worse because of Sphere of Resistance. But it's not like bringing in Spell Pierces helps with that. I'm gonna go a Cantrip out for a Surgical out. Just get better at fighting against Loams and Urza Saga. I can beat an Urza Saga fairly. Beating multiple is hard. This hand is quite good. I have the combo. I have Force of Will to protect it. I have Meltdown for my opponent's initial resources. I'd be a little picky about what I Force of Will here. So like I don't Force of Will that. I Meltdown that. Yep. Yep. So I can just destroy Mox Diamond here. Just straight up as a 1-for-1 spell. My opponent has 2 cards remaining. I think I'm good with that. Basic here. Like, there just aren't that many colored sources in this deck. Attacking them aggressively usually gets me somewhere. This is awkward if my opponent specifically has one of their 2 copies of Ancient Tomb. They did not. Sylvan Library. Absolutely fucking not. In no world is that resolving. Oh, this is a cool looking mountain. I'm just going to make this and pass. I can't fetch with Flooded Strand now because I don't want to get Volcanic Island with it, despite the fact that I need red. So my opponent could randomly go and... Tracking map now? Oh, crop rotation, sure. I wonder what it'll be. Oh, it's actually Ancient Tomb instead. I legit thought it was just going to be another Urza Saga, and we were going to go that route. My opponent randomly chose Pestermite over Deceiver Exarch. Joke's rough. That turn went about as badly as humanly possible. This one, though, not bad. I just pivot off the Pestermite plan and just produce a small-ish Murktide Regent that I hope wins. Or do I play Island, play Pestermite, untap an Island, have that in play, threaten Splinter Twin? That's probably better. The Murktide Regent is only attacking for 4 a turn, and I don't think that's going to outpace Expedition Map for Urza's Saga. Yeah. Or just draw it. That's cool too. This plan does require me to draw something that gets rid of the Pithing Needle. It is a bit of an ask, but I'm working towards something slightly better now. Or alternatively, I can fully give up on the combo plan and just play Murktide Regent now. Does that work? My opponent goes to their turn, makes a 3-3. I attack for 6, they are at 10-ish. Make 2 4/4s, they make 2 5/5s, they find Shadow Spear. I attack again. It sucks that I specifically need blue and I can't use like the Avamaya for colorless here off this fetch land, which is not an island. Alright. Guess I can tap this, it will untap. I guess I have to. Got a decent... Oh, okay. Constructs are getting smaller. I guess my opponent has like Maze of Ith, which is a problem. This deck is not good against chokes. Feel confident in saying that after these last 2 rounds. It's Maze of Ith. Like, we're fine against Urza Saga. Like, I can beat that. But this other stuff is brutal. They're getting 2 a turn now. A Flink starts coming through in subsequent turns. Splinter Twinning a Murktide Regent isn't exactly great. Yavimaya is preventing my opponent from taking Ancient Tomb damage. I leave Flooded Strand in play. My opponent needles that. So be it. It's much scarier if they get a Shadow Spear. Okay, they're going for a Mox Diamond for additional colored mana. Okay, yep. So I need to find a Meltdown. I think that's where we're at. This attack's not doing anything anymore. I will fully concede to that. I guess I can see if my exact top card is Meltdown. Unless my exact top card is Meltdown, though, this is just not happening. Like, I can cast this Faerie Mastermind, but this is so much damage, and my opponent is just going to bury me in Urza Saga from here. Am I just short of being alive? I think I'm just short of this working, bouncing the choke out of play. Oh, no, there's still the Pithing Needle, though. So, like, I can bounce one of these out of play, trade with another. Yeah, I'm comfortable conceding here. GG's. Alright, I've kept my opening hand for the final round here. Basic Plains, Chrome Mox. So this is probably an initiative deck. My back to basics isn't good. My back to basics becomes Force of Will fodder. And the question here is, like, am I forcing this Chrome Mox, or do I want to force whatever is coming afterwards? I think whatever comes afterwards. I touch the Spirit Realm. Initiative confirmed. How many 1-drops are in this deck? 16. I'll force it. Val Pierce is probably not great. Opponent's in red-white. I could hit something like a Fable this turn. Ooh. Turns out going after the Chrome Mox would have been real good. Let's just brainstorm. Pierce can go away. And then the other card doesn't matter. I'll just redraw it. So the top card is a card that I don't want. But if I want to look specifically for Twin and then shuffle, I probably want to still cast my Ponder right now. I will do so. None of those cards are Twin. Preordain would just be bottoming both of these cards, so we will just shuffle. Island is not great here. I'm just going to play Scalding Tarn so I can Lightning Bolt a non-Thalia creature that my opponent plays. Alright. A Solitude, very happy to see that go under Chrome Mox. Less happy to see a Caves of Chaos Adventurer. I'm just bolting that right now. I want to get blown out by Land Drop Ephemerate. Okay, so my opponent has a mountain now. I think I'm gonna operate at sorcery speed here. Maybe I don't. My opponent might go is going Lost Well. I'm gonna let them resolve Lost Well and then probably tap down their red source. 1 top, 1 bottom. Play the one of these that has more power first. Tap the red. My opponent can't play another Caves of Chaos Adventurer. Cavern? And Seasoned Dungeoneer. Oh, this is fine. Like, my plan is attack in, take the initiative, get an extra land drop, and a shuffle off of Ponder, and then tap down Seasoned Dungeoneer when my opponent goes to combat. My opponent goaded their own Seasoned Dungeoneer. Let's ponder. Murktide Regent? Murktide Regent's not bad, but I very much want a Deceiver Exarch right now. A shuffle. Go ahead and attack with Pestermite. I take the initiative. Grab a land. Post-combat play a land. Pass the turn. Guess I just do this now before some weird fringe spell bites me in the butt for not doing it now. Alright, tap Dungeoneer. Tap creatures versus the initiative threats is sort of wonky. Alright, cool. I think I just lost well this and try to win the game, rather than forge this and try to out-tempo my opponent. Ooh. Maybe we are tempo-y. I could top these. Alright. Hit my opponent for 3. Bring them to 15. Pass the Preordain. Faerie Mastermind. And go on bottom. They'll top this other one though. Solitude is annoying, but that will resolve. Takes out my Pestermite. Again, while they are tapped out, I will just go ahead and do these things. Fetch. Grab another island. Go ahead and upkeep, tap this down again. No initiative for you. Okay. I'll just go to stash here. That Spell Pierce is kind of whatever. It's possible I'm only supposed to send in with one of these to play around my opponent's card. My opponent's currently played card being a Solitude. I'm not going to do that. Right. They are at 13. This time I don't do anything in the upkeep. I think I'm bouncing in beginning of combat. Don't give them the attack trigger here. Like, they'll get the initiative, but this forces mana to take the initiative. And I just take it right back. Yes. Going to Archives. Or Catacombs. Feels like Catacombs to me. Do you disagree? I think you just want the extra body so that I can not continue to do this same bullshit that I've been doing. Archon of Emeria. I'll respond with this. Archon's in play. Game's gotten a bit weird. I will cast a Pestermite. We'll tap Archon of Emeria. This is a 3/4. I get 1 extra point of damage if I attack in with all of these accordingly. Alright, my opponent's at 6. I pick up a creature that almost certainly lets me complete the Undercity next turn. I am at the higher life total, but my opponent gets thrown to the dead 3 first. That's where we're at. Yep, so that's protection from creatures, so that just occurs. Plateau is fine. I'm hoping to specifically dodge Fury. Fury can take out 3 of my creatures simultaneously. Did not dodge Fury. Yeah, I mean, I called it. Whatever, let's top deck a Splinter Twin and win. Fuck. That's not spell pierceable. Yep. Okay. I've called a couple of different things in this game. Alright, I think I've made more than enough here. Send them all except this one in. And my opponent is very dead. That was a slog of a game. So, I don't really have time for back to basics here, I don't think. I'm interested in things that impact the board. Brazen Borrower's coming in. Meltdown, Null Rod, Force of Negation are playable. Pyroclasm hits some stuff, but like it hits the hate bears, but doesn't hit the larger creatures that I care about. I'm still probably going to play the Pyroclasms. Like Spell Pierce on the draw, for example, is not great. Let's cut those. I'll play the Force of Negation. It's also good against Chalice. I guess Meltdown also needs to be a consideration versus that. I'll have 14 1-drops still. I think I'll go some Preordains out or some Meltdowns in. Twins aren't my favorite thing in the world in this matchup because my opponent has Solitude that can randomly just disrupt what's going on. Auto mulligan. Opponent has gone to 6 as well. Do I keep it? I have some game versus a lot of stuff, but I'm gonna need another land. I think it's okay. I'm throwing back one of Deceiver Exarch or Pestermite. I think Deceiver Exarch. Alright, Ancient Tomb pass. That's fine. That means I can brainstorm in response to whatever dumb thing my opponent tries to do on turn 2. I'm going to brainstorm in response to that. Okay, I am going to hit land drops. Probably just get rid of Pyroclasm here. Keep 2 single target removal spells, redraw an evasive creature. Like play Chalice. I don't think they're gonna just like play Chalice. Archon of Emeria. That's a pretty big deal here because my Prismatic Vista enters tapped. Means that I'm not using any mana in this turn cycle. Set a stop in my upkeep so that I can fetch then. I will take the 3 damage. Cool. We'll fetch. Grab a mountain. Making this land drop, it's a little more complicated from there because of Touch the Spirit Realm. I'm pretty tempted to just melt down my opponent's Chrome Mox to make their true white mana worse and take them off some mana, and then just play on Faerie Mastermind on their turn if there's nothing that I have to Force of Will. Alright, goodbye. This is still a 2-for-1. You can float your mana. Force of Will is medium right now because my opponent has Cavern of Souls. Oh, Force of Will is great right now. We keep Pestermite or Faerie Mastermind? Probably Pestermite. It's just like awkward because if I keep Faerie Mastermind, I can double spell in my next entire turn cycle. But the combo axis definitely matters. Alright, I take 2. Volk's cool because I can Lightning Bolt Archon of Emeria, play Volk, go to their upkeep, tap down Ancient Tomb, and be live for a Splinter Twin kill. Very nice. That draw is not great here when I am on exactly 4 lands. When it goes to 14, I can contest the initiative. I have a Lightning Bolt that can go upstairs if my opponent casts something like a Chalice. Ooh, we've got a Thinker on this Cavern of Souls. Elemental means Solitude is somewhat likely. Not going to cast Lightning Bolt at their dome here. Faerie Mastermind is a card. It gives me a pitch for Force of Will. More importantly, it's just another body to pressure my opponent's life total. With an Ancient Tomb as their land, that does matter a lot. Taking out that Chrome Mox was probably very, very good. Just kind of based on how things look here. Excellent. Alright, now we have a blue card for Force of Will. I think given my current situation, I think I just hold Force of Will up. There's still a bunch of things, like randomly, like White Source into Swords to Plowshares, that Force of Will counters. That card doesn't do anything. I mean, like, it does stuff, but, you know what I'm saying. We are going to get a basic here. End of turn, I'll send a Lightning Bolt upstairs. Brazen Borrower. Every tempo play here is just absolutely crushing. Brings my opponent to 1. Grab a basic. Second main phase, do this. Pass the turn. In combat. Petty Theft that back to your hand. While I have 2 lethal threats in play. This is the good old Splinter Twin gameplay of like, leave them in fear of dying to the combo, but also just tempo them out all day, every day. You don't have red showing. Okay. That cannot be countered. That is not a problem. Those creatures die. My opponent is going to need a Solitude in addition to what they currently have. And if they cast Solitude, I Force of Will it, because it's not uncounterable as of right now. I guess they need double Solitude. Thanks for playing. Hey, and we redeemed the league with a 2-3 finish. This was an awesome league, folks. Like I really enjoyed this one quite a bit. Overall thoughts on the deck list. I don't think we realistically beat Choke most of the time because, like, look at how many basic islands we're playing. But Choke is such a small player in the metagame that I really like where this is at as far as a first draft is concerned. Like, this was a completely untested deck list going into this. I made some pretty significant changes, like changing Snapcaster Mage to Faerie Mastermind, like, very much changes the nature of the entire deck. But like this was a very reasonable deck. And we did some super cool things. Like I enjoyed the gameplay in all of the rounds. Like this deck list gets a huge thumbs up from me. Like this was very enjoyable to play. I like the play patterns. It's relatively strong. You have this like tempo combo aspect. Is this going to be the newest hottest thing to take over Legacy? No, I don't think so, but this is super fun. Would recommend for a league or a FNM or anything of that nature. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please click the like button on the way out. That is a super easy way to support my content for free. And if you find yourself in the financial position to support me, please consider joining via YouTube members or Patreon to gain access to my Discord or doing something like a donation deck list. I hope you have a great rest of the day. See ya!